And it wasn't that I was like, ding, I'm going to go start my own business at all, actually, opposite of that. I just started looking for a new job and ended up, I was trying to be picky. I have two young kids. I've been there a while. I had to, you establish the trust
Hmm.
of, you know, daycare calls, I gotta go, or just life. Worked from home a few days a week, was able to get things done around the house. I was being fairly picky for the first time in my life. I didn't need a job, so I could be. And then through kind of that looking process, I ended up having reaching out to a former colleague who has now turned into my business partner, um, simply because he knows like everybody in town works in works in HR, and I was going into that meeting with the intent of saying, hey, do you know anybody who needs an HR director? Can you get me in any rooms? I'm looking for a job. And a couple hours later, I come home and my husband asks, how was it? I was like, I think I agreed to start a business with him. And he was like, you think? And I was like, I think is truly the key two words there. And it turns out I did. But, we just kind of got to talking about all of those things I just mentioned. And like, this is where I'm struggling. This is what I want to do. I want to make more of an impact. And he was saying, well, I'm seeing this in a lot of small businesses that I work with. This isn't just isolated to where you are in your career or anything. Like this is a thing. And it was like, you should just do it. It's like, what, excuse me? What do you mean I should do it? He was like, just start a business. And I was like, what? Me? I repeat, me to do what? And he was like, yeah, I think you'd be great. I'll do it with you. And I mean, that was just never, ever anything I ever thought I could do. It had truly never crossed my mind. Um, Even, the next couple weeks, couple months that we were still talking about it, I was like, am I really going to quit my steady corporate paycheck to do this? And, thankfully I have an extremely supportive spouse with an extremely stable corporate career that he loves and health insurance, all of the things. Um, check, check. But um, and so we didn't, and I was very fortunate to be able to have the support of someone like Jeff who said, let me hold your hand, let me help. But also still kind of the freedom. I mean, he has no idea what I do on a day-to-day basis and like what I talk about, which he is well aware of. And he's like, I don't want to talk about that. But still the support of, well, here's how you run a business. Because I'm like, I didn't know how to do any of that. I'm good at HR, but like I didn't know how to run a business besides that. So it truly was never something I thought I could do. It wasn't something that I was like, yes, this is the business model. This is the idea and how we're going to solve all the world's problems. It just kind of happened. And but I think the really big key there was somebody saying, yes, you can do that. Um, let it click in your own head that you can. And once I kind of let it start to click in my head, I was like, okay, we're gonna do this. Here we go. Let's jump.
Wow.